Friday. Friday's the day. We've almost made it to the end of our 90-day no shopping challenge. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Hi, we're the Provident Preppers. This week looks really bright. It's the last week of our 12-week no shopping challenge, and we're going shopping on Saturday.
Do I have to go?
I'm going to buy chocolate chips, and I'm going to buy ice cream, and I'm going to buy yogurt.
On that note, check out how we survived last week.
It's hard to believe we're already reporting on week 12 of our 90-day challenge. Only 6 days left. In the picture here, you see me holding some ground beef. Now, that was a very difficult situation because I went to a friend's house to drop off some kids, and he came out with this meat, and he said, I don't have room in my freezer. We just got back from the butcher. You need to help me by taking this. Well, I didn't have anything to offer in return, but it did resolve itself, and we'll show you how in a couple of minutes.
One of the things that makes Sunday dinners great is that everybody brings something to contribute, and so it's always a feast. And our contributions are becoming a little bit more basic because we're running out of some of the supplies that we used to have. For instance, cooked carrots. And Ben and I made some homemade cinnamon rolls, which come from basic staple ingredients in our food storage.
And we had watermelon from the garden that we chopped up.
And a loaf of my delicious homemade artisan bread. So while we're not able to contribute some of the more exotic foods that we have in the past, we still are able to contribute delicious, nutritious foods. Our garden has done such a wonderful job of providing for us. Here we take garden fresh herbs and veggies, and we're using dry beans and some leftover turkey that we had to make dinner. It's a delicious dinner, just using the basics.
And of course, we still have our wonderful lunches of veggies and eggs and toast.
Now wait, can you tell whose this belonged to? Was this mine or was it John's? It's mine. It's smothered in cheese and not jalapenos. And this is Ben's version of an after-school snack.
And this is just part of it. Cheese toast and fruit.
Now you remember that ground beef that we were gifted that we were uncomfortable with because it wasn't a barter? Well, later on in the week, my friend Jennifer called and she was really sick. And I decided that it's the perfect opportunity to make a big pot of soup for her using the ground beef that they had shared with us so that her family had something warm and nutritious to eat. And I also made a second pot for our family.
And it was great.
It's always good.
This has become one of our regular meals, and that is our frozen burritos smothered with enchilada sauce with a vegetable and fruit on the side.
And chicken gravy using canned chicken over dehydrated mashed potatoes with carrots from our garden and a piece of chocolate cake. Can't get much better. And at the bottom of our freezer, I found a bag of sweet pork that was left over from Sam's farewell. So when we had a lot of company, I just put that in the slow cooker and warmed it up, made a big pot of black beans with rice and opened a few cans of corn. And we had a delicious dinner using paper plates so we could throw them away.
One of the really great things about this year has been our fruit harvest. Our trees have produced bountifully. Once again, my famous oatmeal with raisins and apples.
The truth is, he's not as famous for his oatmeal as he is for his whole wheat waffles. All the kids and grandkids love Grandpa's waffles.
We love to cover them with fresh fruit syrups.
And of course, the breakfast of champions. Scrambled eggs with chives, cinnamon toast, and fruit on the side. But this morning, the kids were really excited because they were able to have apple juice.
And of course, fried rice Friday. You gotta love it.
We want to thank Kate Lucifer for sharing her recipe for crepes and German pancakes with us. And I made her German pancake recipe, but because we did have a huge crowd for breakfast, I poured it into a pan and put it in the oven and let it cook that way so that it was a little bit faster for me. And this isn't something that we have done traditionally, and the kids really enjoyed it. Of course, we've got the dehydrated hash browns and eggs on the side. I'm always trying new things to increase the nutritional content of some of the food that I feed my family. And I decided I wanted to try chickpea flour in the pancakes. And they were surprisingly good. I didn't tell anybody till afterwards. So we had all these people for breakfast for eating these pancakes, and they were just, well, they were going like hotcakes. Imagine that.
This is Ben's way of enjoying his pancakes. He likes to smother it with a thick layer of fruit.
Maybe that's why nobody tasted the beans in the pancakes. My sweet friend Betty and her daughter Laura showed up at our house one day bearing gifts. At Betty's retirement party last week, we had a conversation about how stressed Kenny and Christy were because of their college chemistry class. And Betty knew that yogurt would help these girls, and it was such a sweet thing for her to drop this by along with some chocolate milk for Ben. But when they showed up, I did have a little dilemma because I couldn't just let them bring us stuff because of our challenge. So we had to barter for, so I asked Betty, what is there that I have that you can use? And she did say that she had forgotten to buy onions at the store. I could definitely hook her up with some onions.
And we had another mystery donation. Yogurt just appeared in the fridge. Not sure how to justify that one.
We have no way to justify this. We have no way to do anything about it because it just appears.
It is downright criminal.
Well, we have plenty of food stored, and we will not go hungry, even if we extended the challenge, which we will not.
Oh, come on.
For a longer period
Just 90
of time.
more.
No. There are things that I am running out of. One of them is this Creole seasoning that is a staple for my cooking. I use it in the eggs, and when I brown the hamburger, I'm always putting it on there. And I had run downstairs thinking there was another bottle of it, and there wasn't. So I was really sad. Also, we've run out of our fresh white flour. Because I bake so much from scratch, even when we're not on the challenge, I have a 5-gallon bucket with a Gamma Seal lid, and I buy the 25-pound bags of flour, and I just dump them in there, and I use it directly out of that bucket. And I usually keep a spare downstairs that's not packaged for long-term storage because I just rotate through it like that. So now we know that those 2 bags are a little bit less than a 90-day supply for our family. So I had to dip into some of the white flour that we had stored. Now, if you look, this is 20-year-old white flour. We purchased it in 1999, so this is 20 years old. Now, when you open flour that's been stored in either a Mylar bag or a number 10 can, it will smell. And if you use that flour, your food will smell like that. But we've found that what you can do is just leave it open. I usually transfer it to another container and let it air out. And that smell leaves, and then you're able to use it in your baked products without it adding that funny taste. However, I did use this flour, but when the challenge is over, on Saturday, I will be going and buying fresh. I would not recommend using flour that's this old. White flour is not good for you anyway, but by 20 years later, it has definitely lost some really important nutrients. So this is good flour to make Play-Doh with, but not to feed my family. And the last of the Worcestershire sauce, it's gone too. I made these delicious Hawaiian beans, and the recipe is right there. It takes very few fresh ingredients, and you could substitute the onions and the peppers for dehydrated or freeze-dried ingredients. So this is a good one to write down and keep.
And much to our cat's displeasure, we ran out of cat food. I have always tried to have at least a 3-month supply of cat food, but when we started this challenge, apparently I didn't. So here we are. We have some old tuna that needed to be used up, and the cats are getting tuna this week.
And the cats are loving the tuna. They're happy we ran out of cat food, actually.
It will end.
Well, not till after we go through that case, because that was getting kind of old. I keep this emergency candy... Well, I used to keep this emergency candy bar as a kind of trophy on my desk. And one day, I just got so desperate for chocolate that I ripped into it. And now my emergency candy bar is gone forever. Okay, so I'm totally addicted to chocolate. And it's really important for you and your planning to understand the things that you're addicted to. Jonathan's not addicted to anything. Well, no, you're addicted to peanut butter. Not to the same extent that I'm addicted to chocolate. But so I'm out of chocolate. And I don't have any chocolate chips, and I already ate my emergency candy bar, and every day I am craving chocolate. So I'm trying to do things to satisfy that craving, and I love this. This is a recipe that I make where I pour real maple syrup into a pan, and then I saute these nuts and seeds in it, and it crystallizes, and it's just creates these wonderful candied nuts. But even after eating that entire pan of nuts, my craving wasn't satisfied for my chocolate.
And guess what happened? A friend of ours handed me this package of chocolate, and I said, well, I can't take this. And he said, well, my wife and her mother came over and were able to tour your garden, and they felt like they had to repay you somehow. So I guess this was some form of barter, but I made my wife cry.
Andy and Jen, thank you. And I did cry. I couldn't stop it. I saw the chocolate and all of a sudden there were tears coming out my eyes.
I'll never understand.
There's a lot of things you'll never understand about me.
And this is always a bittersweet time of year because we've worked hard all summer and it's been a lot of challenge and struggle getting the weeds out and keeping everything growing. And then we come to hard frost time and it's all gone. This is a real challenge for us now because we've so much enjoyed all the fruits and vegetables that we've been able to get, and now most of it is gone. We do have chard still, and we have a few other things. Cilantro and chives and some of those that are hardier, but a lot of our produce is now gone.
And it's a good thing that our challenge is coming to an end now because I really need those fresh fruits and vegetables in order for me to feel good and healthy.
Quite frankly, I can't believe we're almost done.
It really hasn't been that bad.
I liked life the way it was before, and I can't wait to go back. But now for the question of the day. What food did you miss the most if you couldn't go to the store or eat out for 90 days? Comment below.
And thanks for being part of the solution.